The framing and spray foam is complete, and it's time now to do the interior finish on this 20-foot shipping container. The filming has been tricky, and so a lot of the details in this video are going to be included with text and voiceover. I hope it makes sense, and I hope that it's helpful if you decide to try something like this.
You know, I don't say it often enough. This saw-stop saw is a Cadillac. And yes, they sent it to me at no charge. And every time I come in here, as I was working my way through this bench and as I'm working my way through this shipping container, I think, thank you very much, saw-stops. Still got my fingers. And much more importantly, Leo and Abraham and Asa and all the rest of my grandsons have still got theirs. And I have every reason to think they will when they get to be my age.
The interior is being sheeted with CDX plywood. That's plywood with one C grade face, one D grade face, and it's put together with exterior glue. It's not that expensive, and it is durable. It provides real strength, and it's going to look nice, I think, with the Cedar 1x6 wainscot that I'll be putting up as this moves forward. It's sort of a rustic man cave look in a construction office. And yes, like I mentioned, filming was tedious because it's small in here, and climbing in and out of this box, which was blocked up in the air, was annoying, but good, clean, semi-rough, semi-nice carpentry under a roof, watching the rain fall outside is a real blessing, even after 48 years of doing this sort of thing. Let me just throw in right now that I think this spray foam is pretty much perfect for this project. Are there health concerns with this stuff? Probably. Will it seal this container up tight and provide pretty good insulation and a very good vapor barrier? Certainly. Will it eliminate mold behind this plywood? I think so, but let me tell you, I would hate to ever have to remodel a house or a wood frame building that was glued together with this stuff, because, buddy, it is tough. So you're watching me use a narrow crown stapler right here, with the staples driven in parallel to the face grain of the plywood. They hold pretty good. They go in easy, and they countersink just a little bit, making them pretty much, invisible, or at least innocuous in a project like this.
The last bit of framing is to throw a little partition in here to receive the door, close it off. I gotta tell you, building this thing, it occurs to me, is more like building a tree house than building anything else. You're up and down off the ladder, and your extension cords are always wanting to slide back out, and the camera is awkward, and yeah, so what, right? But it is not like building a house, so if you decide to do it, brace yourself for some additional time and some frustration. And with the rain all weekend, let me show you what I've got to figure out before I take too many steps forward, because if I don't solve this, it's going to be a real problem. Well, yeah, you remember how I said that it was a crapshoot on putting this window in and where I was caulking it and allowing the weep holes to continue to function? Well, I blew it, so I've got to pull this thing out, put some bottom flashing in there, work some other kind of magic in order to get the weep holes to collect the water that runs down the face of the glass, send it out of the sash and into the right spot so it can get out through the openings that I left in the window stop that I welded on the outside. Haste made waste. Anyway, it's just wrong. It's wrong. So we have the enviable task of using a putty knife to cut this caulking. Well, that's working pretty good. Maybe it's not. Okay, it's already looped. All right, we're gonna survive this. Got to put some bottom flashing in there. I should have known that. Well, it's been a long, tedious struggle. With this shipping container up off the ground, climbing in and out, tools in the shop, tools out here, no room, so what? It's time to throw this on. I've got this cap all the way around, I got the corners trimmed out. I've been fighting some touch-up with the stain, and then getting the stain on the door. You know how that goes. But at this point, I think we are ready to cover some ground.
Right here, I've switched to a 2.5-inch 15-gauge finish nail. It gets a good strong bite reaching through the 3/4-inch cedar and 1/2 inch of plywood well into the studs. And let me just add this. In 48 years of construction, fabricating, logging, and all the rest, this is one of just a handful of times that sitting down while working is actually faster. As a general rule, and pay attention to this, young guys, never, never, never sit on your butt while you're working. Stand or bend over or take a knee, yes, but sitting down to work is usually bad form and will instantly label you, and not in the way that you're hoping.
I'm 67 years old. I started doing this for pay when I was 19. And I still cut it too long. A guy has to be able to do the cost-benefit analysis of, can I leave a little gap somewhere that makes no difference so I don't have to walk out to the saw twice? Why is that so hard for me to figure out? Don't know. All right, so I got the interior of this thing done, minus the electrical. Check it out. Looks pretty good. Come on in. Nice to have a little heat in here. So I've got the surfaces taken care of. A little touch-up staining, doesn't matter. Not going to worry about this butt joint. Everything else is pretty good. Next thing on the agenda is electrical. Everything's going to be surface mount and EMT. Going to come up into a 2-gang, use it for outlets and for a J-box. Come through that J-box up into a little bitty junction box, a 2 20-amp breaker little sub panel. Back down, run around the walls into other outlets, and then out the top to a series of lights down the middle. Everything is going to be in pipe, pretty tough, so if it needs to be reconfigured or anything else in the future, it's easy just to pull it off and put it back the way you need it at that point. I think I already mentioned it, but this is all red cedar, fencing boards, 1x6, full 3/4. This I ripped out of some 2x6 red cedar, so it's smooth. I mean, you know, people will be leaning on that. Needs a little touch-up stain down here, but we'll take care of that later. This is going to be a little hard to dust, right? I mean, that's a rough sawn finish, but, you know, this is just a sort of a rough office. And then up here, this is, perhaps like I mentioned, CDX, Douglas fir plywood. This is just a structural ply, but it's a pretty good look. This is a man cave, red cedar and Douglas fir. 2 premium softwood species that grow around here, I'll tell you. Do you remember that we did a little resonance test earlier? And boy, it really was noisy. It feels to me like it's less, but it's still a bass drum. But on the plus side of the ledger, the road noise now is really dampened out here. And this little electrical heater, little electric 750 or 1500 watt with a fan, gets it hot enough in here to run you out. And it was 35 degrees in here last night. So I think it's going to work about right. So now that we've transformed this, I mean, it feels like space, right? It feels like you ought to be something done with this. And yes, this is going to be a construction office. What would you use space like this for? Does this look to you like something that would be useful in your world, at your place? I can tell you this, I've mentioned it before, I'll mention it again, building this inside of this Connex has been harder than I thought. So this whole window debacle's a little embarrassing, but
so what, right? We've been embarrassed before. This is what I should have done. Somehow or another, I did some sort of old man mental gymnastics and thought that the weep holes could just discharge behind that angle iron and the water would find its way out right there. How silly was that? That was wishful thinking, right? We get tool fixation, we get wishful thinking of what we want to have happen must be what will happen. That is a mental mistake every time, including this time. So I just cut that flange out on that little piece of angle iron, caulked around it with silicone, and as near as I can tell, between the flashing on the inside, the silicone caulking everywhere, and gravity finally bringing that stuff out, hopefully they were watertight. Well, this Connex has been sitting in my driveway in front of my shop for too long. I've been looking forward to setting it down for months. And frankly, it is just about time. And when it came time, I've got to say I was glad that Brady, my video producer, was here to help me.
This is why they say check your surroundings. You see that? Ratchet strap over the fiber. We got it over the power line on the first shot, over the fiber on the second shot. Let's see if third time's the charm.
Nice. Look at that. Yeah, keep going if you can. These old blocks of junk wood are heavy, and since they're down at the level of your knees, they're hard to move. But Brady is game, and even if the blocks are just as heavy as he is, he's getting it done. Got to admire that. So I've known for a while that I wanted EMT pipe, silver pipe, against the wood, right? And I think it's gonna look good. We're gonna put metal faces on here. This sub panel is gonna be the wrong color, but I mean, how carried away can you get? Kevin Eckerman came out here and he lined me out so I could run the wire. It's number 8 coming in from the plug-in on the outside, right up through this 2-gang, into the sub panel, boom. And then I have 12 coming back out of there and going everywhere else to service the outlets. Actually, the outlets from here are serviced with one run of 12 off 120 amp breaker. That outlet, the lights, the switch and one outlet down there are running on the other 20. Kind of split up the load. As you can see, I didn't capture any of the electrical process, or at least very, very little. There comes a time, you know, when you just got to put your head down, throw the camera away, and get some work done, and thankfully, Secret Weapon Dave took care of that for me in here. It's all number 12 wire in the EMT conduit. We already talked about that. And he just walked right through it. We've got a particular plug-in from the outside that is made for and intended to be used with a generator, which is sort of similar to this application. But we're coming up with one more video where you're going to be able to see the finished product with my friend all moved in. You'll get a look at how he is going to conduct business out of his job site office trailer, and maybe you'll get some ideas for how you might want to do something like this if you ever need to do something like this. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work